also thank Miss Kani for organizing this. So this is a bit of background of what who am I? So I did a 360 transformation from an accounting profession to HR workforce preparation personnel. Then should put into
Yeah, it's a bit laggy.
What about now? Okay, so is it better now?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So we'll continue from here. So this is basically what we do. Basically what now? I think it's because the connection is not very. Okay. Okay. Okay, I'll use my phone. I'll use my phone. Thanks, Kajun. Okay. So in that sense, we also need you guys to actually need your help to actually help us to go to Facebook. Just put in Interspoon and one, and then just click the like button, and that's it. If this is just to support us.
Miss, off the speaker.
Means got
Can-
two,
can-
got echo.
Sorry.
Got
Off the speaker. The speaker makes the echo.
Is it better now?
Oh, yeah, better.
Okay.
Better now.
Hang on. Is it better now?
Yes.
Okay.
Better.
Okay, I think it's because of the connection. Okay, so let's continue. So some of the things that we discussed today is about the resumes do and don'ts, business writing in terms of how you should write your email when you send out your resume, and what's the new norm of interview and how to tackle them. So in terms of resume, okay, so this I will show you a few examples. First thing first, when someone sent you a resume, sent you an email, this is something that we see lah. When you see this someone who uses their username as csxtortis@gmail.com to send you on application saying that they want to work with you, would you want to hire someone like that? So that is why first impression is very important. If you are having this kind of email, please refrain yourself from using this email. Whatever is in your high school that you created, just leave it back in the high school. Create a better, more professional email. If you want to use your school email, you may do so, but just bear in mind that when after that, whenever they want to contact you, make sure your resume have your personal email address. But definitely, please keep it professional lah. So the next example we have here is someone who's called Superman who wants to apply a job with us. So it's something that catches our eye, but then it's not very suitable lah for the email address. So the choice of email address, it's very important as well. So this one is the best. We got someone named Mutated Cells wants to apply uh, to oversee a therapy session with us. So at the back of my mind, why do you want to let someone in with such funky names to come and oversee your session? So these are the first impression that gives very important uh, impression to the employers. So this name that you are seeing actually is the one that mentions what do you want your email's preferred name. So always remember to change it to your name, so it's also easy for. So when it comes to resume, we also saw this part where um, someone's email, this person is actually applying for a full-time job. But the resume email address, it's called unknown law 0@gmail.com. So these are the funny emails that we still get, even though those candidates who are applying for full-time jobs. So these are something that we wouldn't want to see, and it's not something that we will explore further. All good? It's everything all good there? Yes. Okay, cool. Okay, so next thing that we will see on resume, some of the mistakes that we see. Okay, do you notice that there is this open bracket here? This one? So this one is actually is an indication to you to say that this is a variable bracket, meaning it's for you to fill up this information and not for you to send out blindly to your employer saying that with this variable bracket which you did not amend. So these are some of the small mistakes that um, some of you made. These are some of this is as extract from the previous batch of students who submitted their resume and they did not change simple things like that. So simple things like that do caught our eyes, and then to us we will have a first impression where um, you don't pay attention. There's no attention to details, and you don't check your resumes. Okay, so for this one, try to find the error for this top picture. What what is the error that you get to what the bottom one, the top, this one? What is the typo? Yes, a few of you got it right, but a lot of students missed out this typo. So at the end of the day, I have at least 20 students who send out their resume with this same typo. So these are some of the things that we will caught at it will catch our eye. Don't see it as very small. It's something that we still able to catch. So that we will be able to that because we receive close to 20 with the same with the same mistakes. So in that sense also we realize the student don't check, don't reread whatever you have write. It's just and then re-amend what it suits you on it. That's it. And you didn't read. So those are the things that employers are very much particular about it. The second one, you have guessed right. How do you type in your email address? This is actually from the form that you fill up. There was a couple of students who filled in the email address wrongly, like this one, the student spelling mistake. Some of them spelled edu as edy. So just be careful when you fill up all these kind of forms. So some of the common mistakes are things that there's no attachment whenever you send out an email from the resume. Uh, the email address when you draft an email, often when we receive this email, it will be um, to our email address from someone, and then it is some of us, some of them might be very lucky. They will write who they are, introduce about themselves. But most of the time, what we get is just the email address, just the resume just attached like that. So what do you want us to do with that resume with when you just attach the email like that? Should we frame it up? What position you are applying? We don't know. So why should we give you a chance if you also don't know what you want and you don't take the effort to actually mention what are you applying for? So these are the things that we are very particular about. Choice of file that you are submitting. The resume file that until to date, we still get at least 30% of the students who send in their resume in Words file. Reason being, we don't like or don't encourage as well for you to send in Words file. Reason being that Words file is actually variable lah. You are able to also, for us as employer, we don't download your file first. We will do a web view. So once we do a web view, right, it's gonna be very messy. It's gonna be all over the place because Words file doesn't lock your information. So some of the times we get students who submit their resume in Words file. If you have some shapes inside, I can't see anything like nothing like not even your contact details um, until I download the file. So this kind of things very mafan. Or even sometimes I can't even click to load. So let me ask you one thing. If there is a website that you click in and you cannot, it will take you 2 seconds to load, how many of you will still stay on that website? If a website, when you click on it, it takes 2 to 3 seconds to load lah, will you still stay on the website? No, right? Yes. Right. So if you yourself will tell us you won't stay on to wait for it to load, right? Then why should we stay on to actually click your file, wait for it to load, only view your resume? So when you submit your resume, right, you can use fancy things like Canva to do. You can use um, Words file to do. It's fine. But whenever you submit, right, submit in PDF. But when you submit in PDF as well, just be careful not to submit your file too big. Because some of them, like if you're using Photoshop, if you're using Canva, once you convert it into PDF, the file can be very big. So your file size also matters because certain companies have put in barriers that anything more than 3 meg, the company cannot receive the email. So please make sure that your resume file in PDF is less than 1 MB. So that will be very much easier to get through, and it will be easy for the person to actually download it as well. The next thing is too detailed information. We don't need to know your age. We don't need to know your sex. We don't need to know your race, whether you're driving license or not. It's not something required when it comes to an internship. So leave those details out. I'll rather you put in more information, more important information like your skill sets. For example, because some of you are in tech, right? I believe you have a whole long list of programming language have used before. I'll rather you list that out, and even some of you editing tools like Premiere Pro or Photoshop and those kind of things. I'd rather you list that out than you put in such information, such too detailed information. Because reason being, once they want to explore further with you, they will ask you to fill in an employment form. So in that employment form, right, you will only they will ask you to fill out this kind of detailed information. So in resume wise, I don't see why you should actually put it in. Grammar and spelling error, that is something that we were allowed one or two, but not too many. So things like that have to be careful. In your resume as well, we usually ask you to put in a strong objective. So these are some of the examples of strong objective, like you have to input a strong traits, what position that you are actually applying for, and how you value add to the company. Um, I will share these slides with you guys later. Um, so that will give you a little bit of reference. Qualification, language, what kind of skills that you have. You know how to use like Microsoft Words, Microsoft Office, in short. G Suits, you all know how to use. So those are the things that you all can put in. Programming language, if you are not, if you just want to manage your expectation, but because you feel that you are still not quite there yet, um, you can put in things like basic or beginner, so that gives them a little bit of impression or understanding that hey, we know you can, if we give you this tool, we don't need to walk through with you, hold your hand, and guide you step by step. Yeah, so those are the things that you can help you better manage the skill sides. Photoshop, Illustrator, any video editing tools lah. Like if you are good in Premiere Pro, you are good in Filmora, just put it there. Don't put things that is such vague, which is I have video editing and Photoshop photo editing skills. So employer will ask you the same question: what kind of software that you use? Rather you post up everything rather than just put it at a very general stage. Okay. So okay, so those of you who have long names or English, some of us Chinese have names that's very not hard to pronounce. Like mine is Yinzi, but people will call me Yinzie, or like some other funny names. If you have an English name but it's not in your IC, you can always opt to put a bracket at the back to say that this is your English name, or a nickname that you can call, that we can use to call you. And then for those who are Malay and Indian, some of you will have your nickname in between your name. So just underline. So for us as an employer, we kind of know, okay, I don't have to call you Nur Hayati, I can call you Hayati. So these are some of the easy way for you to, for the employer, help the employers to actually identify you as well lah. So here is some of the example of some very good resume. So the one on the left is actually one of the student from Sunway. So why I chose her resume is because she have a lot of experience. You can see her experience is actually very wide. However, her strength is she managed to use a one-liner to actually explain what she do. So that is something that as an employer we really appreciate, and it's something that we understand. And we can see that actually you managed to simplify a lot of things. So these are something that we actually do pay attention, and we look at. It will bring in additional points, like I would say. The one on the right is one of a very commercial one. You can put in colors and pictures and stuff lah. So in terms of color choice, try to avoid color choice like red color or yellow color. because red is like you are scolding people or something that you want people's attention. So try to avoid using red. Yellow, it's often too bright. So it's something not that eye catcher. It's very tiring for an eye to view it. So choose something more in between or more formal like blue or green. If not, you can always just use black and white. It's fine. The gist of the resume has been conveyed. That is what you want. Okay. So far, any questions? Any questions from Ed? No? Okay. Straightforward? Yeah. Someone asked, is it okay for the resume to be more than one page? I would say yes and no, but you have to play around. Try to fit everything in one page, but if you cannot, um, put the most important one put in first page. So things that is more important, for example, your contact details. The other part will be your education level, um, as well as your experience, your working experience. And then if you have any achievement, put it there as well. So yeah, so try to arrange a little bit if you really have to exceed and go into second page lah. Someone asked about CV, is it? Any special software to do resume? Um, I would say there's a lot on the market, like a very simple one like Canva allows you to use their template to do it. I think Microsoft Words also do have a template itself. VC more than resume is one page, CV is more than one page. Yes and no, but at your stage, probably for an employer myself, I would say resume. I would prefer to view resume. Reason being, resume is short. It's all in bullet point, straightforward. Um, and to say that the time spent to actually view all these resume, right? I only have like 7 minutes or less to actually view your resume. So I would want things to be more straightforward. So for me, I would definitely choose a resume over a CV. Is there a resume? A resume must have self photo. Um, this is something that a lot of students will ask. For me, I would prefer someone with photo, but if you don't have a photo, the trick is put in your LinkedIn profile, because your LinkedIn profile will definitely have a photo. In certain jobs, you may need to see people. Is as biased, and it may sound a bit biased, or it may sound that um, us by the books, or judge us by our cover and appearance. Um, Something for you to actually understand. If the job requires you to actually meet people a lot, your physical appearance needs to be tidy and neat. It's just like a simple concept as um, when you go to a supermarket, right? You will not see any food tester that that has very oily faces or very um, hands and hands are not very clean, those kind of thing. So for this kind of jobs, like some of them will still need to go and meet clients and stuff, then yeah, you need to have appearance, need to show them that, and I can pull off, I can help bring branding to the company, those kind of things. So I'll leave it up to you guys whether you want to put your photo in the resume or not. If you opt to, personally, I would prefer a photo, so that one thing is also easier for me to know the candidate when they come for interview. I can tell you, those that without resume, right, 9 out of 10, I mistaken them as someone else because I don't know who they are and they don't put in a LinkedIn profile. So I know it's either a guy or a girl, but there's so many people coming into the office. Some other people also having some interviews. I always mistaken them as my candidate. So this is also to help the employers to know who you are as well lah. So if you don't want to put a picture in your resume, it's fine. Just put your LinkedIn profile. It's good enough. Someone did ask for intern, just use resume, don't need CV. Yes. Resume attached to email and send to company. Yes. Resume objective must write up. DH is what? Don't have, is it? Don't have experience, leave it blank. Okay. So for resume objective, if you don't have, perhaps you can write something about yourself, something about your passion, like what you are passionate about. So just to give the employers a brief understanding who you are. Yeah, so that's about it. I think there's quite a lot of standard ones you can actually Google about. So not to worry, it's just a brief summary about yourself. If you don't have working experience, I would say don't. We've seen a lot of students who put working experience as a heading title, then inside is blank. So to the employer is whether you forgotten to fill up or you really don't have. So if you don't have working experience, it's fine. Don't have to put the word working experience there. Probably you can replace it with curriculum activities, extracurricular activities. Or if you don't have working experience, like for you guys are tech, right? I believe some of you are, doing some freelancing job. You can always put your portfolio link there or a GitHub link there as well. What if I have hair on my photo and I'm bald right now? Probably choose something that is closer to your appearance right now lah. If you have a very much more professional picture, then you can choose that, or else something that allows the employers to identify you and can see your full frontal. You don't put in the pictures that see, oh, this view. How would I know this is you? You know, so those are the things that you have to put. You can put. Okay, I think this is a very good question. If I have promoter experience, can I put? Yes, you can. What you can do is, I believe because promoter, a lot of you may be working part-time as promoter, and maybe you have been working with quite a lot of jobs before, like industrial, right? So a tip for that is you can always put, let's say for a part-time promoter from January 2019 to December 2019, and then just write a brief introduction, a brief description, for example, covering industry of F&B, motor oil, or events, what my customer experience, what is my customer experience, or what do I actually help out on, those kind of things. So that will shorten your resume instead of you put identify it one by one, but you put it as a summary as a whole. Because when you put part-time promoter, we kind of know it's something that you do when the job is available and it's not like a long-term thing. So that will actually help you to do better. Maybe perhaps after this, I can draft out a draft template example for you guys to actually use it as a reference. That will give you a better understanding as well. If you have working experience unrelated to what I'm studying, what should I write? If it's not something deviate too far off, you can always opt to explain a little bit like your experience working with them. So for example, let's say you have done data entry lah, even though you are a tech person. there's nothing wrong. You can always say that I have done. I was a admin clerk. What do I do is I help the daily operations of the company, calling clients and managing customers' requests. Those kind of thing, I think, is something that they want to see as well because they want to know what you have learned from here. Because sometimes even from handling customer requests or customers answering customers' call, you'll be able to catch what the customer need, and the company will be able to make a decision better to maybe change the product or change the way of presentation, those kind of things. So those are the little things that you don't see it happen, but actually to a company they do appreciate. So not to worry about if you don't have working experience related to what you are doing, because you are just an intern, you are starting, and most of you are in diploma, right? There's no degree students, right? So far it's all diploma, right? um from what I see is, yeah. So in that sense, I would say that they won't expect too much because you're just very entry level, very fresh. So yeah, they, as an intern, they won't expect too much on this lah. Okay, so I think for the resume part, it's kind of there already. So some preparation tips before you go for an interview and before you submit your resume. Always research about the company. Um, check your grammar mistake. If you have know who your interviewer are, then try to ask them. Um, Another very important thing is always to rename your resume file. I can tell you until now, right, I still receive students who send in the resume file as resume. Hello, how many files I have is resume? Until now, I have collected up to resume number 30. And whenever the employer want to find out who is this, let's say I have candidate A, I cannot find the resume already because you all didn't rename your name. So how do you expect people to actually contact you? I could have read, let's say 10 resume, and I really like the first one, but I can't remember the name. I remember the name. I cannot remember what's the file name. When we do a search on file, right, we cannot find the file already. So that is equivalent to you losing a position or a chance working with the company. So always rename your resume file. It's just as simple as resume dash your name. That's it. That makes our life so much more easier. Okay, so what question the interviewer will normally ask? Okay, I'll get back to that question later. Um, I will show you some of the emails that probably can see this one. Okay, this second bottom part is a student who actually sent in their resume. It's a classic example lah. Subject title hi, um, and then nothing. Looking for internship in any field, resume attached. She's very lucky that actually we opened her file and we managed to open her file. So we refer her to a position in one of the company, and the way she replied is, "Hi, thanks for your response. I'm available when, if possible, can interview in the morning." Those kind of things. Not it's I would say the way that she replied is kind of rude as an employer. So if the employer is not very nice, then we're like, this kind of student is very rude. I don't want to have them in the company. So I wouldn't move forward from there. If you are a newbie and don't know how to write email, right? The trick is always to refer what the employer writes. So sometimes the employer may approach you and say, "Hey, hi, so and so, my name is this, and then I'm from which company. I'm very impressed with, let's say, your presentation during this competition. Can we have a copy of your resume? So this is something very formal. So if you don't know how to reply people's email, you can kind of copy or copy the style of how they reply, how they send you this email. So that will give you a little bit of heads up of how you should write an email. I will show you a template later, like what are the things you should include whenever you send out an email um, resume to companies. Um, this one is okay. One of the things also I forgot to highlight in your resume. Don't write things as rookie without a diploma cert. So don't do things like that lah. Um, and the part reference is always for your um, reference for, as in a person reference, may can be your lecturer, can be your previous job supervisor. Um, so whatever that they have written here as reference is actually wrong. Reference part should be whoever can make reference to your character, and not about yourself lah. So something that we want to highlight, this is one of the senior who did this lah. And also this part is the most interesting part. You want to write interest, can. I interested in programming, but I will be weak in that area. So in that sense, what are you trying to tell the employer? You are interested, but you don't want to do it, or you don't know how to do it, or you I admire your honesty, but we don't need to know that. Perhaps you can rephrase it better, is I'm just stop as I'm interested in programming, that's it. That will do the trick. So be careful when you draft your resume also. uh, this is something on business writing that we received before us. So this is something some of the students who did it last year. This part is actually your subject title, not your content. Whatever you write here is for your email content, not your subject title. Subject title will be something like this. UC diploma internship from when to when. So this is your subject title. So subject title is something like your book cover like that, just to give an indication what you are applying for, when is your internship, those kind of thing. But not your whole content inside lah. Okay, so something for you to pay attention on. Also, this part, when you see this two and you send to multiple employers, is something employers don't like. It's just like telling the employers upfront, or it's just like if you are dating a girl, you are telling your girlfriend that I'm dating multiple girls. You think your girlfriend will still stay with you? No, right? So things like that have to be careful. Whenever you send out an email to application to an employer, make it personal. Address the person, send it one by one. Address the person as well. Don't send in multiple like that. So here is an email format that you can use. So uh, usually when you come to the compose page, you will see two. So you just key in whoever's email address that you want to send to. If you're familiar with this CC and BCC, so CC is a carbon copy, meaning you will CC someone. BCC meaning a blank carbon copy. So whoever that you put in BCC area, they will not be a whoever that you will see in 2 and CC area, right? BCC will know that you send to them lah, but whoever that you write in 2 and CC, they will not be able to see who you BCC to. So whatever that you put in BCC is like a ghost to when the recipient see this email. So usually you don't use it at this level. Usually what we will use is 2 and CC level. The other thing is subject. So put in your subject title. So for example, subject is you are looking for an internship in, say, applying for an IT internship in October, let's say 20th October to 31st December. So this is the subject title. So whenever an employer see is, we kind of know, oh, actually this is your internship period and you're applying for IT intern. The next thing is to address the person. So just greet the person. So if you don't know who is it, you can just say hi, HR manager or hiring manager. Introduce yourself. So just say that, hi, my name is. So for example, what I will do is, my name is Yinzi. I'm a year 2 student studying in TARUC College. And my course of study is what. Then the body, you can draft something along the lines that when is your internship period. When you do closing, always tell them to uh, bring them to actually read your resume, and just tell them that attached here is a copy of my resume. If you may reach out to me at this number. So why I tell you to put your phone number in that email, right, is also just as a backup lah. Because we have seen students whose resume out by 1 digit. So we cannot contact the student. Email, dah lah, email you all don't read. So we are unable to contact the person. So at the end of the day, when they reapply another round, they leave their email address, their contact details in contact number in the email. So that is how we are able to contact. Then always thank them and then go by warm regards, and then you then sign off your name. Okay. Okay, before we move forward into the interview part, is there I'll stop sharing for a while. Is there any questions that you all like to ask up to this level? What is CC and BCC again? Okay. Hang on.
Miss, you didn't open your mic.
Can you hear me?
Now can, okay.
Okay, sorry. Okay, so for 2 and also the sorry, CC and BCC, right? So 2 is, let's say I say to Yinzi. CC I CC Interspoon. So whoever who received the email, meaning me or Interspoon, will be able to see who's the recipient. Okay, simple as that, right? Okay, so whoever who is in BCC, right? So let's say I put BCC Miss Kani Molly. So Miss Kani Molly, right, won't appear in my email or the Interspoon email. So blank carbon copy is like a ghost copy. It's like something you want to CC someone who but you don't want the recipient to know. Can is that more simplified version? Sorry, I missed out the comments. Hang on.
as for email written, do we need to be specified to the position or just mention intern position, as of us are not familiar with the position? Okay, for Dinglin's message, right? A question, right? What you need to do is try to find out the position available. So let's say your position available, you try to find out what is available for the company first. Because if the company doesn't have the position available, then there's no point of you applying for the company. You get what I mean? So try to find out what is the position available, and you may want to cater your answer towards the advertisement.
So yeah, so I think that's something that you will need to know. Okay, the other question from Brian is what should be written in the body side of the internship period? Perhaps a simple thing like you can explain to them and just say that let me find an example. Okay, why would you want to intern with their company? That is something that they want to know. With your, what are the skill sets you can bring in? So why I asked you to actually read up what is the company's position available. So for example, right, I have this company's ads saying that I'm looking for IT intern with C# programming and .NET programming. So any of you who have that programming language, right, and say, I've seen your advertisement that you're actually looking for IT intern with these skill sets. I have used this in my coursework. Let's say to build a app or build a website, for example. So that is your body part, lor. Because this is something you don't write into your resume, but you can take this opportunity to write into your email. Does that make sense, Brian? Yeah. I would like to ask whether my email address is okay or not. Young Ming Kim 93. Is that okay? Yes. Doesn't have to be same as your name. Perhaps they might ask you why you didn't use your own name. But it's professional enough. So if you want to just rename or build, just choose another email address that just solely for job seeking. You enough. Just now I owe someone a reply on the interview, right? Now? Okay, I better leave this as a backup. Okay. So sorry, I guess it's just the line not very good. Okay, so I'll just leave the phone voice as a backup. I hope you all don't hear an echo on it. Not have echo. Now? What about now?
It's okay.
Yeah, okay. Then I'll just use as this lah. Okay. Someone have a question on the interview side, right? What is the common interview question that employer always asks, right? Okay, I will come to that question after I do the presentation. I will share the slide continuing now. able to see. Okay, it's not reflecting. Hang on. Okay, probably I'll just get to the questions first for a while. Wait this to load. Some of the common questions where interviewers will ask, probably they will start assessing when they call you. The first question probably will be ask you to introduce yourself in, let's say, less than 1 minute, or some of them can tell you that use 3 words to describe yourself. So these are some of the questions they will use to assess your language first. Okay, can you guys hear me? Yes, okay, sorry. Okay, so we'll continue first. So we have received, usually how, why I say by phone call, right? Sometimes when I call the person, for example, let's say I call Brian, and the person who answer on the phone and says, oh, hi, who are you? Usually the employers will actually introduce themselves. So they will say, hi, Brian, my name is Lindsay, I'm calling from Interspoon. The person on the side, on the other end who replies, oh, hi, what's this about? Or answering you in a very monotonous tone, such as like you just wake up. It's not something that employer want to proceed further. So it's just like treat the interview as a dating game, or I would say put it as a dating game. When you want to date that person, like you want to court that person, right? You will dress up, you will answer them in a very energetic tone, right? So it's the same to employers. You don't want to answer them in a tone that put them off. So that's when they start assessing you. So, and then during the conversation, they can also ask you simple questions as, do you know where's my company's location? That is one. If you can answer, then it's great. If you cannot answer, just tell them, sorry, I have not done enough research. Maybe you can share with me. So that is something that employers will ask. Also want to know whether you do your research or not. That's one. The next thing also, they can also ask you simple question like, okay, my company is located in Bangsa South, and it's LRT accessible. Would you be interested? So student A, we have I'll give you 2 scenarios. Student A who said, oh, if it's LRT reachable, it's fine. The other person who replied said, oh, if LRT reachable, but I googled just now, it takes 2 hours to reach. I don't think so. I want to I want to intern in the company. When the student is actually staying in Starbucks. So in that sense, I will see candidate A as, okay, this candidate do show that they have the energy, they have the enthusiasm to actually, what I want to see is the job. What I want to do is learn from the job, and not where the location is will be my second choice. But as long as I can take LRT there, is fine. While the second student claiming, you just reply, hey, from Bangsa Maju until Bangsa South will need 2 hours. First thing we'll see, okay, it's fine. I think you can go find another position. Reason being, from here I can assess is you don't have good problem solving skills. From Bangsa Maju to Bangsa South LRT, so closest LRT is still Kerinci. I don't think so you need 2 hours, unless you have input in the Google Map that you have input into the wrong hours. So if you're looking at this kind of hours that you Google the timing to be now at 9 something, perhaps yes, it will reach until 2 hours. But if you are looking at, if you have adjust the timing into, let's say 8 o'clock in the morning, I don't think so it will take 2 hours. It will probably take half an hour to 45 minutes to reach from point A to point B. So in that sense, we also be able to see how these students solve this question, or your problem solving skills in life, and whether this is something that we are looking at or not. So in terms of interview question can comes in various size or various types and various size. There's no one size fit all to say that these are the standard question that they will ask. Probably the standard question they will ask is introduce yourself. But other than that, I can't give you an exact template what they will ask. But bear in mind, the moment you submit your resume to the employers, that is when they start assessing you. They can start assessing by your email. They also start assessing by phone call. Even some of them may reach you via text, like WhatsApp. So that is something that employers will look at as well, to the point that asking you to come for the interview. I think I have some technical difficulties on my end right now. I will get my colleague to actually share the remaining presentation slides here, so that you'll be able to see the remaining slides of the interview skills. But in the meantime, you all can feel free to throw me some questions so that I can answer you along the way while I get her to actually share the slides. How to make good impression to employers? Probably is the first thing that we see is your appearance. Like how do you present yourself? Okay. Probably first thing is email, because they cannot see your face first, so they see your email first. Then followed by a call. Then they will also follow up with your resume. When they see your resume, they will be able to share more lah. They will be able to see more. Then after that, when it comes to physical interview, they assess from the point you enter the company. So for example, we have seen that students who actually come in and said that the person who opened the doors for them said that they are not the HR person. So the candidate just like, oh, you're not the HR person, okay lah, then just sit down like that. But to the fact that actually this person will come and tell the HR person, hey, your candidate quite rude. I open the door for them, they never say thank you. And then when I say I'm not the HR person, I'll find the HR person. Then they give me a kind of face. So that actually gives impression to first impression that maybe this person can be very rude. This person doesn't have manners. So that is where they start assessing. Then after that, your interview. So how you greet the person. Now is not a good time to actually do handshake. So perhaps it will be something like you can do a fist bump, or at the moment, I think, yeah, probably fist bump will be good enough. Or else if the person doesn't want to have any physical contact, it's fine as well. So usually when it comes to interview, we will actually do a handshake and introduce ourselves and say hi, those kind of things. But at this COVID-19 situation, I think it's kind of difficult. Everyone is kind of scared. So yeah, so I think at the moment we will stick as no physical contact first lah. Yijing, will you be able to share the slides right now, because I can't seem to have mine work? That's great, that's great. Yeah. Okay, probably while waiting for all the shared slides, the next thing I want to talk about is also during this COVID-19 situation, a lot of the companies have opted to put the interview, instead of having physical interview, they have put it into Zoom, they have put it into Google Meets. They are also having it in Microsoft Teams. So first things first, perhaps there's pros and cons when it comes to online interview. First thing first, online interview, you can be there on time because you just log in anywhere but the downside is technical difficulties. If you don't have a very stable internet, then something that we will struggle on. And also if your laptop is acting up today, like I think maybe because I have overloaded it, so yeah, so it's kind of stuck right now. But anyhow, just make sure that you have a very stable connection. If you don't have a stable connection, perhaps you can opt for a phone call first. Then after that, if they ask you to come for the physical interview, that's fine as well. The other part is also on the interview application submission. So that is, they will ask you to fill up a form first before you go for an interview. So that is where you fill out all your details. So submit to them before the interview timing. Then the other thing is, so the other thing on interview right, keep the mindset there. There's a few things that I always practice is always be humble and hungry, be honest. We have a lot of times we have caught students who put in skill sets, for example, Photoshop. So I asked them, hey, do you have any portfolio that we can see that you use Photoshop to do? Then the person replied, actually I don't have the skills. I just copy and paste from my friend's resume, but I forgot to take out. So if that's the sense, just tell us upfront first, be honest. Always think about your story. What do you want to tell them and convince them that you are the right person for this job? And employers like motivated employees. So try to keep in energetic tone when you speak to people. Don't have a monotonous tone lah. So that will put people asleep on. I think there was an interviewer, there was a student who asked, what if I actually doesn't have a portfolio? That's fine. You can start building up. I believe there's a lot of assignments that you have done in the at university level, right? What you can always do is using a PowerPoint slide to put a summary of your project. Sometimes when I understand your struggle, because sometimes when I ask for portfolio, it's just to have a summary of what you have done. Meaning, because you have to bear in mind, whoever who read your resume first is the HR person. It's not the technical hiring person. So if you send, there's a lot of times that we receive candidates who actually send the portfolio to us, but it's your FYP, which I cannot understand all the technical language that you are using. So how should I pitch, or how should I share your information to the company or to the hiring manager? So that is one. The other thing, so when it comes to portfolio, we just want to have a brief understanding of what you can do or what you have done before. So can be, let's say you've done some mobile app, for example, you can just do a screenshot of the mobile application and just briefly describe what is this mobile app content about. So for example, this mobile app is a game for students to actually, for kids to actually learn maths better. That is something that is your project about. So they will ask you, what do you use to code? What is this all about? You can explain to them. So if you don't have a portfolio right now, you can start building up. Basically, it's just to give the HR easier understanding of what you have done before. Will the interviewer ask technical questions such as programming algorithm question? Yes. Hiring manager will definitely ask you this question. So before you go for an interview, always check who is your interviewer. So if it's a HR person, perhaps they won't ask you so much about technical questions. But if it's a hiring manager, definitely they will test you a little bit on your understanding and your logic thinking. So just be prepared that they will ask you this kind of question. We have seen certain companies, before you go for the interview, they'll send you an exam question for an hour or something. You have to complete within an hour. And then what's your score? Only they proceed to the interview. So there's scenarios like that lah. So just check. You can always check with your previous senior who works there before, so they will be able to share you certain experience. Interview kanchong for introvert like me. Practice anyhow you still be kanchong one. So the only way is to practice You deleted all your assignment. Great. Probably then you have to start building one now lah. If you deleted all your assignment already, probably you start building one now lah. I heard that interview are actually more scared than interviewees. Not really. Depends. Usually it's the interviewees are more scared lah. How to decline other job offers when we got a job offer? Okay, this is a very good question. Some of the students, some of you might get like 2 to 3 offers, right? But you pick one that you want already. The other 2, just reply them an email or give them a call to tell them that you're no longer available. Thank you for the opportunity. You have chose another job, and you wish them good luck, and just tell them that you will keep in touch with them. So that's about it. It's not something very hard to do. There's also a lot of templates online that you can refer. Just no need to be too harsh, because maybe in the future they want to keep you in a future loop. Because a lot of these companies do tend to keep talent pipelines. So don't burn bridges. Try to keep them alive lah. Try to keep this fire alive lah. So some on and off, maybe you can, if you know the hiring manager already, you can always share your initiative with them. Some of the hiring managers will be quite appreciative to actually track your current progress, and then see whether they can actually bring you in for a full-time job or not. So yeah, Yijing, can you go to the next slide? The sample interview pre-assessment question. Yeah, can you put it into a full view? Yeah, press it all out. Okay, so these are some of the interview questions, pre-assessment questions that people will ask. The employers will ask, just to see how your problem-solving skills are, how your market industry sensitivity, attention to details, and also adaptability and flexibility. A lot of candidates tend to shy away when employers tell them there's a lot of research and development needs to be done in the job. And there is some market research and customer experience support that you will need to do. A lot of students will try to reject, but when we are actually sharing with you, that is a point of doing so one, because through this research and development, it's just it's another way of you discovering yourself and your potential interests. And also asking you to do market research and customer support is also to ask you to help get feedback from the market, like what the market wants, so that we can adjust or change our product that able to suit the market. So these are some of the things that some of the questions that that employers will ask, and this is what we are trying to see lah. Eugene, can you go next slide? We also attach some sample interview questions for you to actually try to practice. Don't memorize your answer. Try to carve out something, but don't memorize it like a robot, or else it will be very difficult for you as well. So these whole slides we'll share with you as well. So it's something for you to practice. Next slide. So here is the feedback form and also the resume deposit link for you to actually deposit your resume once you're done. If you need us to actually help you review your resume, get in touch with us on Facebook. Just let us know. Then we will arrange a timing to go through with you. And the university end will require you to actually fill up this feedback form. So do scan the QR code to fill up the feedback form. So I think that's about it for the presentation on the resume and interview, and also your email etiquettes, like how do you reply email of how do you send out email for a job offer, for a job application, and some interview tips when you go on to speak to your employer. I think that's about it. If you have any more questions, we will be able to answer you. We can answer you right now. Feel free to ask. On behalf of the team, we thank TARUC for actually letting us organize this. We really apologize for the technical error. I wish it was something that we had done better. So that I really apologize on that. But anything that you all want to ask me further, please let me know. And also, I do appreciate the feedback from your team, from all of you, so that we can make this next session better, or what you want to know from us in the next session. Should I send an email to one company and wait for a few days, or send to a few companies? This is one of the questions that Zheng Xian asked. Okay, I would advise you to send to a few at once, meaning like let's say today you have identified 10 companies, you can send to all 10 companies. Don't send it one by one, because it's going to be very tiring for you to track, because you can't be putting all your eggs into one basket, but you want to spread it out, right? So don't do it one by one. I would say that you can choose one day and just send it all out. Then Lin said, can I know, is there any intern opportunities in Interspoon currently? Yes, I have. I'm actually looking for tech. I'm looking for marketing and designer. So if you think you are someone who is flexible and can work independently, feel free to come and apply with us. Definitely there's a lot of growth and opportunity here. Wonkit have one question: can we negotiate salary? One thing you have to understand, intern is allowance, salary is full-time job. So you're asking for a full-time job, or you're asking for intern allowance? Kai An asked, Wonkit asked intern. Okay, so for intern is called allowance. Usually it's non-negotiable, it's all fixed. So unless you have special talents or special requirements or special skills that the company wants, some of them are willing to pay a little bit more. But other than that, from what we know, the industry are paying flat throughout the whole company. So for example, company A can be paying their intern, let's say 600 for all their intern. company B can be paying at 800 for all their intern, regardless you are in which department. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't give you the chance to actually negotiate lah. Allowance and salary is different. Salary, it covers your EPF, SOCSO, EIS. Those are so, and salary are usually at a higher bracket. Allowance are usually at a lower bracket, so probably less than 1,500 around there lah. So usually for allowance, you will get net, meaning that is when we say 1,500 means 1,500 like that. So there's no deduction of any payroll authority. Yes, fixed. Shava is right. Any internship opportunities for degree for IT student? Yes, there's a lot. So it really depends on the programming language, because IT, a lot of companies will have different requirements because they use different programming language. So that's why I said that if you can list out all the programming language that you use, generally in the market they use quite a lot of PHP, Java, JavaScript as a diploma level. If they will actually need JavaScript as at least JavaScript as a basis, because when you start coding with Node.js and stuff, it will be the advanced level already. So do put in all your programming language so that they can see what are the other programming language, whether they are using it suits you or not. So yeah, for IT student like us, are we only limited to apply IT related jobs, or can we apply like marketing? Can. For William, I think you can try business development, or product development area. If you are an IT student, but because why we are saying that is because you have the IT knowledge, and as a programmer, some of the in the team, the programmers are very heavily coded, very heavy and busy coding. So for client management side, sometimes they will need some help. That is where you can also come in. So that will fall under the product management part and product development part. So you can try to ask the company whether they have this position available or not. Yijin, can you share my contact so that it's easy for them to actually reach out to me as well? In the next slide. How to know as we are successful to get the job? They will let you know lor. They will give you an offer letter. Yeah. So I think that's all the questions that has been asked. I hope I didn't miss out any more questions. But if you all have any more questions, feel free to WhatsApp me or email me, or DM me on Facebook. I will be able to reach out to reply you from there. Okay, last two questions. What if two companies accept me at the same time? Choose which one you prefer lor. I can't tell you which one to choose, but you have to decide for yourself. So if you really need help, perhaps you can ask your lecturer, like get feedback from your lecturer, or even somebody in the industry. So that will give you a little bit of heads up. Michael's question: if it's student but have learned account, so can find accounting job? Can? SIT. Perhaps you will want to look into company that provides a hybrid, meaning like because there's so many ERP system and CRM system around, perhaps you will want to look into the support team for these kind of companies. Yeah. Probably you can share with me a little bit more maybe you reach out to me personally on your resume, then I can share a little bit more to you for Michael. Okay, one last question so that we all can go close off. Ying asked how we know what position is available for the company. Google and company website, you'll be able to see from the career page. Or yeah, Very good. Zenwing answered it. Okay, so I hope that's all the questions you all have. But if any questions that you all want to